name's Bruno Reddy. I'm a maths teacher at King Solomon Academy. I hope I'm speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. I'm very grateful that you are here because I know that Professor Brian Cox is on in the arena. I've already lost 2 students to go and listen to him, so thank you for staying here. Just by way of a show of hands, how many teachers are there in the audience? I've got an idea. Okay. And how many of you, or how many teachers have tried flipped learning or blended learning or some kind of computerized instruction? Okay, thanks. So I'm going to talk about Chromebook routines, but first of all, I'm going to talk about how I use Google to flip my classroom. I should mention some of the terminology that I'm going to be using in the next 15 minutes. Blended learning, some of you will know, is the umbrella term for blending face-to-face instruction, face-to-face teaching with some computerized or online teaching. That could be via video or via some kind of tutor system. And there are various models. There's a flipped learning model, which I'll talk about. There's a flex model. We've got various rotation models and others. And if you want to know about other models of blended learning, I'd recommend seeing what the Insight Institute have to say. They've created a taxonomy of blended learning models. The ones that I've Googleified, if I can use that word, are the flipped learning model and the flex model. And I'll mention how I use Google to do both of those. So normally in a traditional classroom setting, you would have learning happening in the classroom from the teacher giving some direct instruction on the material for the day. And then in the evenings, at night, they would go home and they would practice those skills for their homework, a worksheet, something that would reinforce what they've been learning that day. With flipped learning, it's the other way around. The pupils learn from the teacher at home and then come in the next day and practice the skills there in the classroom. And so how do I achieve that? Well, the great thing is that flipping the classroom gives me more time in the classroom to do more interesting things. And these two, Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams, they were here at BETT 2 days ago. They're the forefathers of flipped learning. I'm not one of the forefathers. That's an unfortunate caption. But they always said that you would get more time with the pupils in the classroom if you flip it, because you're moving all your teaching to the night before. So I prefer to call it time-shifted teaching. Flipping the classroom doesn't make much sense to me, but time-shifted teaching does. So at night, how does it work? The pupils watch a video that I've made, that's important to me. Then they do some interactivities that relate to the video. I can always find, usually, some kind of game or quiz or something interactive that relates to what I've been teaching them to further solidify what I've been teaching them. And then they fill in a review form. So which parts are Google? Google, I use YouTube video to upload and embed the videos that I've made into a Google site. The pupils access that web page, and then also in that web page, I've embedded a Google form. And that form, they fill in after the video, after the games. They type in their name, which class they're in, and they answer some questions that I've asked. Some of them are open questions, like what did you learn in the video? What questions do you have? Is there anything that you're really stuck on? And some of the more closed questions. And because I'm a maths teacher, I'll ask some very typical closed maths questions. That's very useful. I get that information before the lesson. Instead of me needing to think so much on my feet in the lesson to work out who's been understanding what, that information, at least, has come to me the night before, and I've got then a picture of which pupils have picked up on what I've said in the video and which ones haven't. And that's when I say I've got more time in the lessons. That's what I mean. I've got now more time to be going over and helping the students that need the help, or to extend the students that don't need so much help. To give you an idea of what the website looks like once those videos and forms are embedded, you could go to this address here, which I could go to just here if I show you. So this is what we did last half term. This is the model we used last half term before Christmas, 7 weeks worth. Each day of the week, the pupils would watch a video and fill in the Google form below. And there's the form, name, surname, class, explain And that all gets beamed to me. The minute they press submit, that gets sent straight to me in the form of a spreadsheet. So I can see when they've done it. And I can text their parents if they haven't done it and I'm still waiting for it. And a lot of people say, or one of the myths or barriers to starting with flipped learning is, how do you make sure that everyone's done it? This tells me who has and who hasn't done it, and I can be very proactive in reaching out to the parents to say, look, your child hasn't yet accessed the video, they haven't sent me the form, is there a problem? Can I help? Maybe there's a technical issue. That's what the website looks like. The next day then, with all that time, it's not just a matter of the same old, same old. What do I do with that time? I may as well use it in a more interesting way. I can have more rich tasks. I can have more group tasks. I can have more paired work. I can have more higher order thinking skills going on because I've got that time. The pupils say to me that they walk to school in the mornings feeling less anxious about the day because they already know now what's going to be coming up. There's less uncertainty because they know what they're facing in the maths lesson that day. So they can still ask me questions, which they do, and that's important. They can work with their teammates, and I can pair them up according to how well they've understood. They can practice the skills, and then we can evaluate their knowledge in the way that you would at the end of a normal lesson. How do I use Google for those? I might use Google Moderator. Google Moderator is a tool which is great for sending in questions, and they appear on the screen, and then other people can vote and rank those questions as to which questions they really want the whole class to answer. Google Docs we use together, spreadsheets, we collaborate on documents, we collaborate on presentations. And then in terms of evaluating their learning, I can send them the same Google form. And when I say send, I email them. I've got a distribution list. We've all got Gmail. They flip open their Chromebooks. They go straight to Gmail. And there's a link waiting for them with an exit ticket. It's the same form that they did the night before for homework. It's the same questions. But now I've got a before and an after. And I can measure the impact that the learning that day or the class time has made by comparing the before form with the after form responses. Okay. One way that we're able to use the classroom in a more interesting way, because we've got more time, is to have a paper aeroplane throwing competition. To start with, that's got nothing to do with maths, and I didn't want it to have anything to do with maths. I wanted it to be fun, I wanted to spend the time in an interesting way, but what we did was gather the data on how far the paper aeroplanes threw. And they came up with the idea that we would need to throw it multiple times to work out to find a fair winner. Mid-launch, this boy over here, mid-launch, we measure all the distances, we put them into a Google spreadsheet, and that's what this boy is doing here. He's typing all the data into a Google spreadsheet for his group, which then gets shared with me. We can then plot the data, we can then see who won the paper aeroplane competition. Here's another model. This is the model I'm now using since Christmas. Instead of showing video tutorials at night for homework, they now watch them at school. They tend to be quite short clips because I've broken down the curriculum into sort of much smaller parcels. And what this looks like now, instead of week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, it's broken down into topics. And then each topic is subdivided into much smaller discrete skills. If I click on one of those, it has the video for them to watch. They watch the video. That's the learning part of the cycle, I hope. And then they practice. And then they show me that they know, and they call me over. If you're not here for the second session, then I'll tell you now, this is how they do it. They put their hands up in the shape of a V. And that V stands for validate. Come and validate my work, please. Tell me that it's okay for me to move on to the next video. So I go over, I validate. I'm wearing a lanyard that says validator. And I hand over the validator and I stamp their work with a Facebook like stamp. So it says like on their work. I give them the lanyard and I give them the Facebook stamp, and now they're validators for people in their zone, in their classroom. And when one of their teammates in their zone puts their hand up like that in the form of a V shape, they go over and validate their work. So we've got some peer assessment going on. We've got some consolidation of their understanding because they're going to have to go and check and validate somebody else's work. Once they've validated their work, they hand over the lanyard, they go back and watch the next video, and the cycle continues. We break the cycle from time to time because otherwise that's a bit conveyor belty, a bit boring. Okay, a bit same old, and we don't really get the chance to bring all the learning pieces together. So once in a while, we break that cycle by synthesizing what we're doing. And this is where I'm harnessing and leveraging a lot of the Google tools, with Google Sites in particular and Google Presentations. The pupils have made their own Google Sites, and if you want to see them, you could go to this site down here. Don't worry about typing, you could take the photos of the screen, or this is the important one up here. That shortcut URL will take you to this presentation. That's all you need to write down if you want to see these slides again. Visit that site, and it looks like this. It's a collection of the thumbnails of their websites. Click on each one, and it will take you to their website. I'll choose one reasonably at random. Oh, favorites. Okay. This is made by the boy who was throwing the paper airplane in the last one. So on this website, bear in mind this is the synthesis part. This is, in terms of Bloom's taxonomy, this is now up at the top. We're synthesizing the things that we've been learning. We built the website. We now embed a mind map. And there are plenty of mind map providers, online ones. This is a free one called from mind42.com. They embed that. That means that when they go onto Mind42, they can update their mind map. They only need to embed it once. Any changes they make on Mind42 immediately altered on their website. One form of synthesis. Next. Oh, here is the gentleman himself. Okay, this is Omar. This is his website. We're looking at his website right now. He's made some revision cards, and this is using Google Presentation. So he's got a slide deck which he's building up. They're all building up a slide deck of revision cards so that before we get to the exam, they have some pre-prepared revision slides. Okay, we need some permission. I don't know who the right person is to ask for permission to view this. I don't think there's anything any content that shouldn't be on there, but we're consolidating what we're doing. And then we have a blog, okay, posting things each week to say what we're learning. And this is bringing, at least in maths, is bringing some literacy into my classroom. It might be used completely differently in other subjects. So that's the synthesis part. And that's the cycle that I'm using for the flex model. And I've been using that for the last 4 weeks. Seems to be going well. So we've got YouTube in there, Google Sites, Google Presentations. And I just thought I'd mention some of the things that we all use together that I haven't really talked about. Google Search, obviously, is one of our friends. Gmail has speeded up so much of my communications with the pupils. I can fire off links in the middle of a lesson to a website that I want them to go to, or a message that I need to give them. And it's really at the click of a button. And because they're all using Chromebooks, it's pretty much one click to access their emails. So communication-wise, pushing things out to the students, I'm a big fan of being able to do that. Obviously, Gmail is one provider. There are, choose your own email system. And then forms might be used for exit tickets, maybe used for doing polls. And at some point, it would be great to get them writing their own questions and writing their own forms. Other things, non-Google, that I feel I ought to mention that helped me build up my Flip Learning package is Mind42 and class badges. So as the pupils make progress through these videos and they complete a topic, they earn a class badge. And they go onto classbadges.com, where I've set them up with an account, I've set up the badges, and I just simply have to award the badges when they earn them. And then they can see which badges they've collected. As well, they're wearing shirts on top now, but if you'd seen them 5 minutes ago, before they put their T-shirts on, they've gone round pretty much every stand and picked up all the free badges. These are badge-hoarding people. It's been very difficult to take a straight line to get to this Google stand without passing all the shiny things. So class badges, another friend of Flip Learning. I'm really coming to the end. I wanted to mention one thing. I've been to some of the schools in the States where they're doing some blended learning, and there's a wonderful community of practitioners and instructors who are working together and collaborating across schools, across districts, across the country. It's fairly new here. It's not new as an idea, but we're kind of catching on. We're maybe a few years behind, and I'm trying to build a community of flipped learning and blended learning teachers and schools from the UK. And so I've launched this website on Wednesday, learningblenders.com. That's the now. If you are blending learning for your pupils, that makes you a learning blender. And if you join this community, then we can share ideas together. And it's expressly set up for UK schools and teachers so that we have a local network to share amongst. And we can visit each other's schools, we can share ideas, we can share plans, we can ask each other questions. If we're scared to take the first leap, we can ask those questions. Okay? And I'm going to be talking about 10 Chromebook routines, 10 things that I do in the classroom to make our use of the Chromebooks more effective. And I've brought some of my key Chromebook practitioners from school. They applied to be here today. I sent them an email using Gmail. They filled in a Google form, an application form, and here are 5. And there are 9 altogether somewhere, I hope. 9 expert Chrome users. Okay, number 1, appoint Chromebook monitors. I have 5 Chromebook monitors in each classroom. They're all responsible for getting the computers out at the beginning of the lesson and then putting them back. The reason for this is that I want to minimize any time that it takes to get onto the computer. So I have 5 of them. That might seem like a large number, but I have 2 of them positioned at the trolley. And they are based at the trolley. Their responsibility is for taking Chromebooks out of the trolley and putting them in piles of 4 on the top. And then I have 3 who are shuttle runners, and they have set delivery routes, which they should not deviate from. And it reduces the time, it increases the efficiency. And here's a 14-second video of taking the Chromebooks out and putting them back again. This is shot in real time. And now they're putting them away again at the end. Amazing. That's Chromebook routine number 1. Number 2. If I'm around the class, I'm helping children, I need to see different hand signals. I can't have people calling out across the class, especially if they're watching videos. It's too distracting for their learning. So we have some hand signals. We have a hand signal if there's a technical error. C for Chromebook. We thought about T, but that involves using 2 hands, and if you're waiting there for a while for a teacher to come and help you, it starts flagging, so it's a 1-hand signal, C for Chromebook. The traditional, I'm stuck, come and help me. I have no idea what's going on. There's a mathematical problem that I'm stuck on. And then, my work needs checking. It needs validating. V for validating, not V for validating. V for validating. I learned that very quickly. V for validating. Okay, number 3. We're doing some shared work, some collaborative work. We need document controllers. 1 document controller per group. Group 1, Group 2, you can see the blue person there, the document controllers. It's their job to pick up the template that I've shared with them and save a copy of it in their G Drive, in their Google Drive. And it's also their job to then share that document. They press the blue share button and share it with the 3 teammates. And then they can all be looking at the same document at the same time. That saves me a whole lot of problems. I only need to share it with 4 or 5 people in the classroom. They take responsibility for sharing it with everybody else. Number 4, create a Chrome code. The first time you're with a class using Chromebooks, develop a code of conduct collaboratively. Set up a group of 4 pupils, 1 document controller, give them a template code to start with. They sit in a group and work out what the best rules are to abide by in their classroom or in terms of the use of a Chromebook, the Chromebooks. So treat the Chromebooks with respect. Don't go onto Facebook. Don't go onto YouTube. Don't do anything that Mr. Reddy hasn't said. Don't pass go. Don't collect £200. Don't do anything. There's a lot of don'ts. What does that tell you? Number 5, explain the benefits. You need to get as many stakeholders interested and invested and behind you as possible. I go with parents first. I had 4 parent workshops until I'd seen every parent in the year group, and I told them what Chromebooks were and what makes a Chromebook a Chromebook. It looks like a laptop, it smells like a laptop, it tastes like a laptop, but it's not a laptop. It's so much more in some ways, but it's also, frankly, it's less in other ways, okay? There are pros and cons, and the parents need to be aware of that. It's a tool, and Google recognized that it's a tool for great things in many ways. Show them what's possible in a browser. A lot of people won't know that you can edit videos, that you can edit photos in a browser, that you can build websites, that you can write documents, that you can make spreadsheets. All the things that you know about, but maybe not the things that the parents know about. And they need to be invested just as much as you are. Number 6, pass on some of the responsibility, share it, let the pupils own some of that. So we have case managers who can respond to the C signal. This is a big kind of Batman signal. Come and help me. I need a case book manager to come and help me. And then this is an idea that I got from a colleague or from a fellow Google certified teacher. So this is not mine. We're not doing this yet. But you can have older or more expert Chromebook or Google users to set up Genius bars. Google, am I allowed to say Genius bar here? That's maybe frowned upon. Set up Genius bars for them to show off or to coach or guide the younger Chromebook users. Streamlining web life. I mean, this is just a 21st century skill. If you were here listening to Mark Allen about half an hour ago, he was talking about curation of your own content, and then being able to search and find things that you've got out there. Emails, the inbox can fill up very quickly. So try and show them how to label their emails, how to archive emails, how to choose which ones to delete, how to move them into inboxes, and then they can find the more useful ones in the future more quickly. If I want them to go to a website, far quicker in the lesson for me to email them a link, even there and then in the lesson, far quicker for me to open up my browser and send them an email than to write it on the board and find that some people haven't typed it in correctly or all the rest of it. If email access like that doesn't work for you, then at least shorten the URL and use something, a URL shortener like goo.gl. I've installed Speed Dial as one of the pre-installed apps on the Chromebooks, and that gives them a panel of their top 9 most accessed websites. And every time we go onto a website that I know that they're going to need to frequently access, I say, right, add this to your Speed Dial, because then we don't need to keep typing in. It's just a visual bookmark gallery thing. And then do your best to pre-install apps from the Chrome store. Number 8. Use the same username and password across as many of your online services as possible. If you give them the opportunity to create their own usernames, their own passwords, good luck. See how that goes. Okay? I've learned from my mistakes. Try and set them up. If you sign them up to a maths website, to a literacy website, to a humanities website, anything like that, insist that that provider allows you to specify the username and the password. So they have the same username and password for everything. Makes all our lives infinitely easier, and you don't have 20 questions every lesson. Oh, I've forgotten my password. Oh, what's my username for this one? I can't remember. Oh, I changed it. None of that. Number 9. Chromebooks open. So they're busy on their Chromebooks. I need their attention. And immediately, bam, eyes on me straight after that. That's a drill or a routine that we practice the minute we give them the Chromebooks. And practice that. That's a game. How quickly can you do it? Who's first? Well done. Celebrate. 2 claps. That kind of thing. That's got to be super slick. If you've ever been to a staff meeting and you've taken your laptop along with you, or you put your phone on the table in front of you, the minute it beeps, your eyes are drawn to it. A big shiny thing. It's irresistible. We need to have the Chromebooks closed, and that's the quickest, most effective way I found. And number 10, be consistent day in, day out. If you are trying to routinize things, then there's no sense in chopping and changing your practice every day. You need to be consistent. Okay. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'm going to be staying around. I can give you my email address. If you want to save the slides or go back and look through them, look at any of the videos again, all you need to do is use that link in your browser. Thanks very much.